This is Katrin with Disability Rights New York. Welcome to our podcast, Empire State of Rights, where we bring you information on the most relevant topics regarding disability rights and advocacy. Today, we welcome DRNY's Executive Director, Tim Clune. He is here to discuss DRNY's 2023 highlights. Hi, Tim. How are you today?
I'm doing really well, Katrin. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for being here today. I love doing this podcast at the end of every year.
It is one of my favorites. It is also just lets me know how quickly time goes, because here we are again at the end of another year of, rather stellar advocacy on the part of the people we work with.
And now that it is the end of the year, something we started doing, I think really in the middle of last year, but doing our audio descriptions or self-descriptions for our audience. Let's start with doing that as well. I am a white woman in my early 50s. I have brown, wavy hair, light colored eyes, and I have a gray turtleneck on today because it's very cold.
So I am a white male in my lower 60s. I have glasses, I have silver hair, and I'm wearing my red holiday shirt.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So we just started talking about it a little bit. We're at the end of 2023, and like you said, we have had another big year. We continue to have so many successes, and let's talk about some of those highlights.
So what I'll say is we've had successes across the board in different areas. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is the people that we work with. Currently, we have around 62 staff, and this past November, we had our all-staff event where we recognized and celebrated the contributions of staff who had been with us for 5, 10, and 20 years. Really, really remarkable milestones for people to be with us that long. And what was also very heartwarming for me was that when I look at how many staff we have, 33 of them, so more than half, have been with us for more than 5 years. So we are just finishing up our 10th year or 11th year as the P&A, and it's a testament to the people who have come to work with us, and the work that we do, that I'm really happy to see that people are finding DRNY to be their home, on the professional level. So in terms of other things that we've done, I can talk about a couple cases. One of them that was brought many, many years ago, and it's still mind-boggling that we had to bring this case, but it was to ensure text to 911 emergency services for our clients. We had brought a case against New York City, Nassau County, and Suffolk County, and this year we were able to settle the Nassau County case. So people in Nassau County will now have access to text to 911, and that is something that can benefit everyone and not just people with disabilities.
Yeah, and Tim, we've talked about this a couple of times, how technology and accessibility, we have to be looking at both those things together, right? As things change and things become available to the general public, they also have to be accessible, right? And I think text to 911 is just one of many, many of those instances.
For sure. And what's really remarkable here is that there are many counties across New York State that don't have it. And that Nassau County has agreed to finally implement this is just providing us with the framework and the path to ensure that this service is available to everybody statewide. In fact, it should be available nationwide. 911 is it's become a nationwide lifeline for people, and it is something that with not too much effort could be implemented nationwide. So this has been a priority for us. I'm happy that we're able to reach resolution in this particular case.
Yeah, it's really great news. As you said, it should be nationwide. And one of the things we say a lot is when you solve for disability, you're solving for everyone so that it's something that is accessible to everyone when they need it.
Absolutely. And I mean, we have seen far too often active shooter situations, whether it be in school or anywhere else, and the ability to text 911 without having to have any audio prompts is something that could save a life. So it certainly impacts and helps our clients, but it helps everyone, in the long run as well.
That's right. And let's talk about some of the other cases that have been big in 2023.
So in the second part of the year, we were able to get a really, really good decision from the Court of Appeals in the federal court. So the Second Circuit Court of Appeals had heard one of our cases that had been dismissed, which was preventing our client from the full protections of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. In essence, our client who was above 18 years old, and the IDEA applies to students up to the age of 21, was denied attorney's fees in a case where he was successful, demonstrating that he was not provided the appropriate education, during those years that he was covered. The lower court said, nope, sorry. Since he was above 18, he's no longer a child, a student, so he was not eligible for those protections. We argued this case in the Second Circuit Court of Appeals and obtained a reversal, which is almost unheard of, especially in disability rights cases. So this was a major, major accomplishment on behalf of the staff here. They worked hard and they really achieved benefits, not just for this client, but this will have nationwide impact. There's no doubt about that.
Definitely a really big deal.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the other thing is, we were talking about how many people contact us. We're always The demand for our services is greater than the resources that we currently have, and we do our best to provide really, really substantive services to the people who contact us, whether it's direct representation or whether it's a referral. We want to make sure that people have a path to achieving the thing that they wanted to accomplish when they first called us. But it's interesting, when we look at last year, there were almost 2,400 people contacted us for services. And during that amount of time, we were able to close almost 2,400 cases as well. So it was a nice balance there. We're always trying to get the word out about the services that we provide. We always say better to call us and ask, because you will not be in a worse position than you were in before you contacted us. So that's actually a nice number to see. We do trainings around the state, and we've estimated that we've provide training and information to over 13,000 people. So that is 13,000 people more than knew about our services and how to get in touch with us. So that's a very exciting component of what we do as well.
It is so exciting. And I was thinking about this yesterday, how we're close to 4 years out from the initial shutdown. I wouldn't say that we're out from under COVID, because we're never going to be out from under COVID from what I can say. But thinking about the shutdown and how, again, technology has really been able to impact our reach in a way, how we can have webinars and we could do trainings and we can do workshops and even these podcasts through Zoom. I mean, to think of how technology has been able to assist with us getting the word out and getting really much needed training and information to people. It's just been extraordinary to be a part of and witness as we've done this. And DRNY has also led the way in some of the webinars that we've had. Let's talk about some of those, because while we have the reach now and the ability, what we're providing is also unique.
Absolutely. And we've always tried to lead by example. And I think that this is another example of where we We're aware of what we're doing, and we're deliberate in the choices and the paths that we take. So this year we held an emergency preparedness webinar. It was a week-long webinar. It was led by our staff, and we were able to bring information about emergency preparedness for people with disabilities to over 230 registered attendees. And we had recorded this event. We had expert panelists discussing various issues, and what we took from it was being true to the motto of nothing about us without us. And what we have found over the years is that people with disabilities are the first to be impacted and the last to be considered. We are being deliberate about ensuring that that does not happen as the status quo going forward. And I think that this was a good effort to move towards that. It is an uphill battle, and we will continue to do it, and we will continue to invite ourselves to be at the table to discuss these issues when they occur. But I was heartened to see that this webinar had been it had been recorded, and when we look at the statistics from it, that there were over 750 people who viewed it after the event. So that is just a testament to how important this issue is, and also to how we can continue to push forward this agenda of being included in all of the issues that affect us every single day.
Yes, and we can even drop the link in our notes to this webinar for our audience. It's all of our webinars that have been recorded are on our YouTube channel, which has a lot of traction, which is fantastic. So we'll have that link in the notes as well. When I think about the number of things that we have done in terms of whether it's our webinars or putting together even your background, we had an awful lot going on with our new logo this year. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So a few things about technology, if I can just backtrack, and then
Yes.
I'll slide into into this. This past year, we were able to bring staff together 2 times, once in April and once in November. And what we have seen from that is the reconnection of staff, some who had never met, some who hadn't seen each other for years, because in April, our all staff get together was the first time we'd been together in 3 years. So it was important that we utilize technology over the years to keep our staff connected, and I think we did as good a job as one could. But what we did see was that reconnection with staff together, providing feedback on projects that were going on, and just the collaborative nature of the event, and just the fun component of it as well. So that was another highlight for the year for us. The other thing is, as some of you know, we have offices in 3 locations, one in Albany, one in Brooklyn, and one in Rochester. And this year we made a conscious decision to decrease our physical space for a couple of reasons. One, to decrease our carbon footprint. 2, we recognized that we did not need the amount of space that we had. And just coincidentally, our leases were expiring in those 2 offices. So it was a nice confluence of all of those factors that led us to work really, really well with our landlords. We've been in these locations for 10 years, and our landlords were very, very willing to work with us to renegotiate, leases for the coming year and decrease our space, while also saving a significant amount of money on rent. So that part is good. Our Rochester office, our lease is up at the end of next year, and our landlord has made a commitment to work with us as well. So we will reduce our space there by half as well. Staff will still have a place to come into the office when they want to, and if needed for meetings or depositions or whatever, but we will have that there. This year also brought us, our logo. So if you look behind us, this was a fantastic rollout, I will say, and kudos to you and Grace Combs for all of the work that was done to create this logo. We have only received high praise and accolades from our colleagues across the country. I think it's really representative of New York. I think it's representative of what we do and who we are. And it is just, it is a soothing backdrop to what's going on here. And I think it humanizes many components of what we do. But with that, we also, rolled out our new web design. So that had also been in the works for a long time. Katrin, you were a very big part of that. Do you want to say anything about your efforts there?
Well, I mean, our website has so much fantastic information on it, right? And what we've looked at over the last several years is what information is being accessed the most. How is our audience really using the website, and how can we deliver the information to them in a more streamlined fashion, and really have the information that people want and need just more accessible, more easily accessible to them. So this design has such nice white space around it, where it is certainly easier to view, and the way that the information has been organized, and we can see this in our analytics and our statistics, that we have made some really good moves to make sure that things like our fact sheets, which are accessed every single day, more readily available. So that's so much fun to look at how the information that we have and the information that we're putting out, how our end users really using it, and making sure that we're getting more and more efficient for them. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it is definitely it is one of those things where it's very systematic. So it takes a very different skill set to look at. But man, when we can see the results that we're doing it in a way that we want to and need to, it's fantastic.
You did a fantastic job, and the attention to detail in all of the pages is apparent. The new website, its accessibility features are numerous, but there is one that I would like you to talk about. You and I did a little bit of a presentation at the all staff meeting, but I think it would be good for our audience to hear about the Recite Me component.
Yeah. How cool is this? And we will be rolling out a social media campaign to let more our audience know a little more about it. But this toolbar is giving us the ability to truly have accessibility for our audience in so many different ways, where you can actually customize your view, and it will continue to go back to the view that you've customized time and time again. It has the ability to have language access in over 100 languages. So the entire website will be translated live. So if I put up a new document today, it will be translated to any of those 100 languages instantly. You can change the colors and the contrast for what is best for you. And it will stay that way. You can change the fonts. You can change the voice of the person who will read it. There's the ability to download audio files, which is just incredible. We have a ruler feature so that you can move throughout the website, and it gives a very nice gradient underneath the sentences that you have. And one of our favorite things to look at is the magnifying glass. And this big magnifying glass shows up on the screen, and you can magnify anything on it. So, I mean, and it just is checking all the boxes for us. We had a lot of conversations about language access, right? And how can we ensure that this information that we're putting out can be viewed by people who are not English speakers? And this has really changed the game for us. So we're very excited.
It was a very fun presentation last month when we were at the all staff meeting, and what was even more satisfying to see is that staff did not know about this, and when they saw it, their instant reaction of wow, this is a game changer is amazing. And likewise at the board meeting, did a similar presentation to the board, and the board was also blown away by you know how far ahead we are moving compared to other organizations, and that we're always looking to improve on what we do. So because at the end of the day, if it's going to help our clients, that's what we want to do, right? It is not just about us, it's about how can we deliver the services we're delivering in a much more effective and efficient way. So excellent.
It was definitely fun to even be introduced to it myself the first time, where I had the same reaction as the staff did. As you know, I get a lot of uh, people sending me things that are for accessibility, and generally I'm not that impressed. And then this came through, and I thought, holy moly, I can't believe this. And all of my hard questions were answered really easily. And yeah, it is really very cool, and I can't wait for our audience to have a look and play around with it. I should say the other feature that's fantastic is the reset button. So you can bring everything right back. You can't break it, you can't change it and destroy anything. You just hit the reset button and it goes right back to the way that it was. So it's very cool.
And that is, and the ability to do that cannot be, overstated,
Right.
because the fear factor of changing something and feeling like I'm not going to be able to get it back to where I can, really use the accessible features. This allows you the freedom to play with and experiment and find out what works best for you. And I
Right.
think, this will be part of our marketing campaign for 2024.
Oh, absolutely. And really, Tim, our technology and accessibility features and moving forward doesn't stop with that toolbar. I mean, we have a couple of other pieces of technology that we started using at the end of the year also. Um, and and we can talk a little bit about that if you would like. We have our portal for the PDFs, as well as the plain language portal, which is really, I think, also a game changer. And so we talk about plain language. We obviously have a lot of legal documents on our website, right? And so how we would look at plain language and how we can put information out so the general population can have more information, or really be able to understand what they're reading. Um, and so we're working with Our Ability. Do you want to talk a little bit about Our Ability and John Robinson and our relationship with him?
Sure. So John is a good friend of ours. He is the CEO of Our Ability. What they do in a nutshell is they are a company that connects people with disabilities with jobs. And it it's it is that fundamental of a service that they provide. But additionally, he takes it further by creating opportunities like this portal that you've talked about, the PDF portal. So to have a document that can be scanned for ableist language, for accessibility, and for plain language. So we've just started working with him, and we'll be using our documents to ensure that we are as accessible as we can be. This has been a great relationship that started a long time ago, but has been really nurtured over the past few years. And in fact, John was our keynote speaker at our November event. So we were very, very honored to have him with us.
Really is so cool, especially when we talk about ableist language. And there are times where maybe if we're talking to people who aren't necessarily familiar with the disability community, or the word ableist, or how ableist language impacts messaging and delivery, this part of the portal is crucial because it's giving the opportunity to learn more, right? So it also won't change your document. It won't change the language that's in it, but it will scan it and say, this language is indicating an ableist message, and allowing groups and corporations who are going to use it to really educate themselves as well as their audience on having more accessible, not just documents, but language. And I just think that's so cool to be able to do that. Also with technology, we're able to give information and really help educate people who maybe don't know about even the word ableist, or what ableist words really message when they're not used in a way that well, I should say ableist words are never going to be used in a way that's beneficial to someone, but to even understand that this is a term that really we should be looking at differently.
And I think you hit the nail on the head here. I think it's education.
Yeah.
It's a term that many people have never heard before. And I think to be able to be presented with examples of what ableist language is can only help one in the future to avoid it and to be more inclusive. It's another way to be more inclusive. And I think I can give some examples of an example and an analogy, in terms of the education. In job descriptions, often one would see, or one would read, or one would be communicated that excellent oral and writing skills. Is that really what you're trying to find? It's communication, and communication can occur in many, many different ways. And by recognizing that using language of oral and written skills carves out a whole cohort of people who would otherwise be qualified for the position, but would not feel welcome by those terms being communicated to them. So I think that is a great hope of what John and our ability is doing, that we can educate people to recognize that there is a more inclusive way to do things. The analogy is ASL and captioning. They're just not the same. And many, many people did not understand that, including our state government. So that we were able to provide some education on that front is a good thing. That it is not word for word that ASL is its own language. So we are moving in the right direction.
That's so true. And even though I would say more people are familiar with seeing sign language in the general population more often now, we haven't seen it as much, certainly since the shutdown. But really, there are still people that I will run into will say, well, we'll do closed captioning, whether it's for an event or something. And so it is an entirely separate language, and it's a different form of communication. And I do feel like we did a lot of education around that. We continue to do a lot of education when it comes to ASL and closed captioning. Um, and and I do love those parts of how technology and the one-on-one in-person conversations can still happen, and that education can continue. So it's it is a very, I think, exciting place to be for us, as these tools are now part of our toolbox for how we're putting education out there. And so, yeah, Tim, I mean, working with John Robinson and our ability, I think, is just offering us another opportunity to educate our audience and the general population about accessibility. Man, we have talked about an awful lot in 2023. I can't believe we're at the end of this year. Tim, thank you so much for being here today. These conversations are always just so fantastic.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoy this, and that everyone knows this doesn't even scratch the surface of the amount of advocacy that is done by all of the people that we work with every single day. So I am forever indebted to the work that is done every day. But I am honored to be here, Katrin. So thank you.
Thank you, Tim, and we'll see you in 2024.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Empire State of Rights has been brought to you by Disability Rights New York, your source for disability rights and advocacy. If you enjoyed our program, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this post.
This will be the final episode for our 2023 season. We would like to thank each and every one of you for following our podcast. We will return on January 17th to bring you more information on disability rights in the state of New York. So make sure you tune in.
The video for this episode is available on our YouTube channel with closed captioning and ASL interpretation. If there is a subject you would like us to discuss, please email podcast@drny.org or comment below. For more Empire State of Rights, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.